Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Tonight on Our News, post-emergency legislation is being drafted. The Attorney General reveals the details. The Minister of Health clarifying who will and will not receive the first doses of the COVID vaccine. And Bahamians still hesitant about taking that COVID vaccine. Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, the Office of the Attorney General is nearly finished drafting a bill to replace the current emergency orders to curb the spread of COVID-19. Jasmine Brown reports.
The Attorney General telling senators he and his team have not given up on devising that new legal framework.
We are very, very close to having a post-emergency orders bill, and that will allow the minister, prime minister, will have an advisory committee, opposition members, government members, medical professions on it to advise the minister. So that, in a sense, the political directorate on both sides will have a say at the advisory committee level. And, of course, there will be parliamentary oversight.
The AG insists it is difficult work as they are trying to create something that is going to be effective, serviceable, efficient, and most importantly, responsive.
My draftsperson and I have been working very hard on crafting a bill that will fill the void, if you will, between the health services bill and the constitutional the need for this constitutional emergency order.
A few weeks ago, Bethel argued that contrary to what some critics say, a state of emergency is necessary to enforce COVID-19 mitigation measures, particularly curfews, lockdowns, and travel restrictions. At the time, Bethel took particular issue with an editorial in the Nassau Guardian. In the House of Assembly, the Wednesday before, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis said, if there were no emergency orders, we could not mandate the wearing of masks and other life-saving measures. The editorial argued that his statement was demonstrably false, but Bethel says that was not the case, claiming the Guardian was ill-advised legally. Fast forward to his comments in the Senate today.
Anything has to be that is done must be reasonably justifiable, which is the constitutional standard for conduct, ordinary, everyday conduct, legislation, government actions.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, as the Prime Minister and other government officials commit to receiving the COVID-19 vaccine once it becomes available, the Health Minister today clarifying that parliamentarians will not take precedence over other priority groups. Berthany McDermott has that.
Parliamentarians will not be given priority once the COVID-19 vaccine becomes available in the Bahamas. That's the statement from Health Minister Renwood Wells.
It is not our intention to offer it to politicians in the first group, but the reality is this politician got to take it, so does the Prime Minister, and we've already committed to doing just that.
Addressing the nation on Sunday night, Dr. Minnis said the first priority groups eligible to receive the COVID-19 vaccine on New Providence and Grand Bahama include healthcare workers, people over the age of 65, uniformed branch members, frontline workers, critical workers in high-risk settings, and other essential service workers.
We are more interested in vaccinating our frontline workers, those persons involved in our armed forces.
The Bahamas is expected to receive 100,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine, secured through the COVAX facility. However, it remains unclear when the first batch is expected to arrive.
India, I believe, had offered about 500,000 doses to the entire region. The Bahamas is going to get some of that, but we're also interested in purchasing directly from the Serum Institute of India. We would have spoken directly to that, and hopefully over the next day or two, we will have even better news for the Bahamian people.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Well, the COVID-19 vaccine is not mandatory, but government is urging Bahamians to get vaccinated. Still, Jared Higgs tells us there's a lot of skepticism when it comes to taking the jab.
No, I won't.
How come?
Because I'm looking at the process in which is done in the world right now and how the reaction is going. So that's a no-no for right now.
Despite a direct appeal from Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis to take the COVID-19 vaccine, many Bahamians are still wary of being inoculated.
People dying in the States, people dying all over the place taking these vaccines. They weakening your immune system and all that. And I ain't taking it, my kids ain't taking it.
Dr. Minnis says the vaccine will help to improve the country's health situation. He says another surge in COVID-19 cases would be detrimental to the country's economy. By taking the vaccine, people will boost their chances of being immune to the virus. But many say they won't.
Not now. I'll wait and see how it works. Let someone else take it and wait for a month or two, and then I'll take it.
I need to do more research on that because I've heard that there are a lot of rumors indicating that the COVID-19 is causing persons more sickness than even just having the COVID-19.
That's not actually the case. More than 205 million doses have been administered worldwide, including more than 60 million in the United States. The vaccine protects your body from the virus by helping it to build up an immune response to COVID-19. It is true that side effects such as headache, fatigue, and dizziness can occur, as well as chills and nausea. For the Pfizer vaccine, the CDC has noted that side effects were 4 times more likely to be reported after the second dose. Using data collected after 13.7 million doses of the vaccine were administered, there were 62 reports of anaphylaxis, a potentially life-threatening allergic reaction. That's approximately 4.5 cases per 1 million doses. The CDC says that is consistent with the rate for the flu vaccine. But between conspiracy theory, rumors, general mistrust, and caution, many still say they won't take the vaccine.
It seems like a hope for people just to try and make it seem like it's going to be all right for COVID or whatever. But I just can't take something that nobody really could explain to me.
What are you taking for? I don't have the COVID.
You take it to protect you from getting COVID.
I ain't get it. I did. Plenty who's getting said what?
Of course, there are many who will take the vaccine. Dr. Minnis has promised to, and many healthcare professionals are expected to take the jab when it first arrives.
I believe I will. I believe I'll take my preference would be the Pfizer or Moderna, but I may take the AstraZeneca if that's the only option presented to me.
I'll take my chance with the vaccine and, risk everyday interaction with kids.
Government is getting 100,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccine through the COVAX facility. It is also getting a small amount of AstraZeneca vaccines produced in India. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Well, public schools on New Providence, Abaco, Eleuthera, and Exuma are set to reopen for face-to-face instruction tomorrow. However, not all schools will resume in-person learning. Kyle Joaquin tells us why.
I don't know that there's anybody on the planet who is as excited as I am to have my students returning to me face-to-face.
No more than 50% of the student body will be allowed on campus at one time, meaning some will attend class Mondays and Wednesdays, while others will attend Tuesdays and Thursdays. Ministry of Education officials urging parents to contact and follow their school social media for dates and times their child should return to the classroom. But some schools will not reopen for in-person learning on Tuesday morning due to ongoing construction and other factors.
Anatole Rogers students report on Friday with grade 7 and grade 10. And R.M. Bailey students report on Friday, grade 10.
The schools that are not ready are Naomi Blatch Preschool. We have Yellow Elder Primary School that is not going to be ready. Also, we have Gambia Primary. We have Sybil Strawn. We have the Center for the Deaf, as well as T.G. Glover and Gerald Cash Primary.
Parents urged to send students to school with their masks, personal hand sanitizer, and lunch if possible. Students on the lunch program will still be accommodated.
There will be a team of persons at the gate who will check their temperature, who will sanitize them.
But why are school repairs still going on?
2 fundamental reasons, COVID-19 and funding.
That's it? When you say COVID-19, you want to go into a bit more detail because construction was allowed to continue while a lot of the places where businesses were shut down.
When those constructions were allowed, many of the schools were able to complete those repairs, and to the extent that funding wasn't available, those schools that were impacted were not able to complete their repairs.
Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson says the union's shop stewards will be on school campuses Tuesday morning to conduct their own inspections. If conditions don't meet safety standards, teachers will be prepared to leave. Lloyd maintains the ministry is ready.
We have 3 models of instructions: face-to-face, blended, or remote. Whichever is required at any moment of time, we will employ.
For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
We had quite some weekend weather. Now it's back to clear skies. Greg Thompson is in the weather studio with the details.
Thanks, Christina. Our first look at weather tonight is being brought to you by Ports International for all your medical supplies and equipment needs. Breezy but warm day around the islands today. Temperatures getting up into the upper 70s and near the 80-degree mark. We are in the mid-70s right now under partly cloudy skies. Southeast winds at 10 knots. Feels like temperature in the mid-70s. Satellite view around the area. Patchy clouds moving across our area with that stiff east to southeasterly flow. Those clouds are bringing a couple of isolated showers across the islands. We will continue to see some quick passing showers through the rest of the night. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Ahead on our news, a man is shot and killed on Grand Bahama Sunday night, and how the prison is stepping up after a security breach is exposed. That's coming up when our news returns.
Every new season of On the Record, we push the limits. Venture into unknown territory. We take our cameras into places unseen before. We share the stories and experiences that affect us all. And now it's time for Season 5. On the Record, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on RTV Cable Channel 212 and streaming live on Facebook on the R News Bahamas page.
Grand Bahama recorded its first murder last night after a man was shot and killed outside a business establishment. Jillian Gray has that.
Bystanders overcome with emotion as the lifeless body of a man lay on the side of a building in Grand Bahama. Women could be heard wailing as his body was carted away. Chief Superintendent Kevin Mortimer says the man was shot multiple times shortly after 8:30 Sunday night.
Police responded, reached minutes afterwards, where they met the lifeless body of a male lying on the floor, just in front of Ironlux building, just behind us.
Officers have not confirmed the identity of the man, but our news understands the victim is Omar Penn. This is Grand Bahama's first murder since the start of 2021. Mortimer says in any incident of this nature, there is the possibility of retaliation.
We have no information at this time that there will be retaliation. However, we will be up to the task and put the necessary measures in place to ensure that does not happen.
No suspects are in custody just yet, but Mortimer says police are following leads.
We have a number of establishments here, and we'll be looking at various video footages to assist in our investigation.
Mortimer issued this plea for residents to put the guns away.
We asked the young men to look at alternative ways. If there's any differences to be settled, to settle them other than using high-powered weapons or weapons that can kill.
Police are appealing to anyone with information in this matter to come forward immediately. Reporting for our news, I'm Jillian Gray.
A man was sentenced to 2 years in prison for gun and ammunition possession. Shannon Ramming, in the black jacket and mask, today arraigned before Magistrate Andrew Forbes on 1 count of armed robbery and 2 firearm-related charges. Police allege Ramming was responsible for the January 14th robbery of Verta Giedon of $190. He was not required to enter a plea to the charge and returns to court April 15th. Meanwhile, Ramming pled guilty to gun and ammunition possession charges. Ramming telling the court today that he was on his way to turn in the 9mm black Smith & Wesson when officers stopped him. Police say that gun was used in a robbery. Meanwhile, a 17-year-old juvenile and 18-year-old Alton Percenti in the red shirt today charged with the February 17th robbery of Lakeisha Anderson. They pled not guilty to both charges and were granted $5,000 bail each with 2 suretors. The juvenile received a curfew of 7 p.m. and Percenti must sign in at the Central Police Station every Monday and Friday. They return to court May 10th. Well, additional funding has been approved to make magistrates and Supreme Courts fully functioning during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Attorney General Carl Bethel telling senators those upgrades are expected to make the courts fully operational again.
We've also approved additional funding for the full installation of plexiglass in all of the magistrates' courts. that are active, so it would be Nassau and Freeport right now, because those would be the ones with the higher volumes of activity.
The AG addressing the issue after Leader of Opposition Business in the Senate, Fred Mitchell, asked for an update on the status of the deadly 2013 Freedom Park case that left 4 people dead in Fox Hill. Jury trials in the Supreme Court came to a screeching halt last March as a result of the pandemic and only resumed in recent weeks.
Jury trials have now resumed in the Supreme Court. Much effort was made by the Letter Chief Justice to secure the plexiglass.
In other news, the Bahamas Department of Corrections has heightened security measures after a woman posing as an attorney was able to breach security at the facility multiple times over the past several months. That according to Prison Commissioner Charles Murphy.
We have all of the security measures in place. That's the reason why we detected the young lady who was purporting to be an attorney. We always have persons who seek to evade the system, but after a while the system will catch up with them.
A 25-year-old woman pleaded guilty to a litany of fraud-related charges last week after gaining access to the prison with a fake Bahamas Bar Association ID 11 times. Members of the Bahamas Bar Association have questioned how this was possible. On the other side of the break, how Teen Challenge is making a difference, and Bahamian basketball suffers a loss. The details when our news returns.
Every new season of On the Record, we push the limits. Venture into unknown territory. We take our cameras into places unseen before. We share the stories and experiences that affect us all. And now it's time for Season 5. On the Record, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on RTV Cable Channel 212 and streaming live on Facebook on the R News Bahamas page.
This is our news. Welcome back. The Ministry of National Security's headquarters on John F. Kennedy Drive has been renamed in honor of former Governor General Sir Orville Turnquest. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis says the 70,000 square foot Orville Turnquest National Security Building will play an essential role in the strengthening and coordination of our armed forces.
The name that will adorn this new building is one such patriot and nation builder. Sir Orville Turnquest dedicated his life to public service and to the betterment of our Commonwealth.
And over the past 30 years, Teen Challenge has helped hundreds of young Bahamians to get their lives back on track. Now under the watch of Executive Director Eric Fox, the organization is still working on making a difference here in the Bahamas. Giorgio Bain reports.
Eric Fox has spent most of his life dedicated to the work of Teen Challenge. Fox joined the program as a troubled teen and knew he wanted to help others who find themselves on the wrong path.
A lot of young men, who are involved in certain gangs or even certain anti-social media, if you really have a conversation with them, it's not something they want to, A lot of them are products of their environment.
Teens such as Ambrose Smith praised Fox and Teen Challenge for giving him a place to go when he felt his back was against the wall.
Really, like how my father isn't really here right now. Fox been that person, showing me the way, and I appreciate that.
Fox says conflict resolution must evolve to make a dent in crime. He strongly believes that gang-related violence can be eradicated if more resources were allocated to organizations such as Teen Challenge.
We can get more assistance, so we can train more persons to go on the ground. We can bring this whole gang warfare, this stuff, we can bring this to a halt. We can bring this to a halt if we can really get in the community and have persons do what I do. I do this full time. This is all I do. There's a lot of other individuals who want to do what I do, but they don't have been given the platform.
Now the organization that helps to make a difference in the lives of struggling youth is in need of a helping hand of its own. Teen Challenge headquarters was severely damaged during the passage of Hurricane Matthew. The building's roof is still spotted with mold and other facilities are in disrepair. The farm area once used for crops of fresh produce is now barren.
We're in a great need of soil. We're in great need of people with expertise to teach us how to farm. Right now, we should be growing our own vegetables. We buy vegetables every week from the food store. We should be able to grow that ourselves. But I don't have no expertise. I ain't no farmer. So we can have individuals who want to just step in and just give to us a class. Come and sit with us and show us how to do it and provide some soil and some seeds. the young men are willing, we're willing to do it.
Falk says he remains dedicated to his work and hopes to guide more future leaders on the right path. He says if it wasn't for the assistance of organizations such as Hands for Hunger, Teen Challenge would not have been able to keep its doors open. Reporting for Our News, I'm Georgia Bain.
And Team Bahamas suffers a tough loss against Puerto Rico over the weekend. Here's Marcellus Hall.
All right, thanks a lot, Christina. Welcome to our sports on a Monday, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Our Bahamas men's national basketball team went into the weekend with some high hopes at the America Cup qualifiers in Puerto Rico. All they needed was one win. On Saturday, they came pretty close, but as they say, close doesn't always get the job done. Let's take a look. The Bahamas' run toward earning a spot in the upcoming 2022 America Cup basketball tournament came to a close on Saturday with a disappointing loss to Puerto Rico during the third leg of the qualifying tournament held there over this past weekend. Team Bahamas playing tough. They trailed by 2 at the end of the first quarter, and going into the half, found themselves down 4, 52-48. Third quarter saw the Bahamas going on a 31-18 run. They take a 79-70 lead into the fourth quarter. But in that foul frame, things starting to go Puerto Rico's way as a number of tough calls taking the Bahamas out of their rhythm. Puerto Rico goes on a 32-18 run to close the game. They get the win, 102-97. Team Bahamas led by Michael Thompson Jr. with 21 points. Travis Munnings, he would add 14, and Dominic Bridgewater finished with 12. After the game, head coach Mario Boleg with his thoughts on the contest.
It all shows that we just got to play 40 minutes of basketball. I thought that we were a better team than Puerto Rico. Taking nothing away from them, I felt that we had the size, the length, and the shooting ability to defeat them. We were on the way at the end of the third quarter, entering to the fourth. Again, they went into the zone, which we knew was coming. We were prepared for it. But I just think we just didn't stay disciplined. So if I will take anything away from this, it's just remaining focused and staying disciplined to what is it we want to do against the zone or any defense that is short at us.
And that's your look at sports for you here on this Monday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you.
When Our News returns, Greg is back in the Weather Center. Plus, the Prime Minister opens the new MacFit 360 facility. Stay with us.
Every new season of On the Record, we push the limits. Venture into unknown territory. We take our cameras into places unseen before. We share the stories and experiences that affect us all. And now it's time for Season 5. On the Record, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on RTV Cable Channel 212 and streaming live on Facebook on the Our News Bahamas page.
Welcome back to Our News. Looks like beautiful weather ahead. Greg is back in the Weather Center with the outlook.
Thanks again, Christina, and a happy Monday evening, everybody. Breezy and warm day around the islands. High pressure is remaining in charge of our weather. We do have a weak frontal boundary across the area, but that frontal boundary is expected to dissipate over the next 24 hours. We do expect another frontal boundary across northern Florida getting here sometime tomorrow. That should bring us a chance for some showers as that frontal boundary continues to push towards the south. Your boating forecast for the northwest and central Bahamas tonight through tomorrow. We have a caution flag posted for you guys out there. Winds will be light southeast to south, 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4, but up to 6 feet offshore in some swells. And a caution flag in place for you guys in the southeast Bahamas, east to southeasterly flow, 15 to 20 knots, seas will be running 4 to 7 feet over the ocean. Here's a look now at your national forecast. Now we'll look at your extended forecast through Saturday. That's a look at our weather. Make it a great Monday night, everybody. Christina?
Thanks, Greg. Well, MacFit 360's state-of-the-art Bahama Boulevard location has been declared officially open today by owner Jimmy Mackey and Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis. Mackey leading the Prime Minister, opposition leader, and other government leaders on a tour of the multi-million-dollar facility. The Prime Minister showed off his fitness skills while challenging the opposition leader to some friendly competition. Founder Jimmy Mackey dedicated today's opening to his mother, who proudly witnessed her son opening MacFit's second location.
Was a dream of mine. Started on Markham Park with 6 persons doing boot camps, and I saw it fit to do something to make a change to my country, health-wise, fitness-wise, stress-wise, because this is the number one when it comes to relieving stress.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis expressing the importance of the facility and staying active.
The opening of a fitness center such as MacFit, with all of its amenities, including pool, sauna, and a sports recovery unit, is another tool in a greater national commitment for a healthier Bahamas of mind, body, and spirit.
The new facility has also created employment opportunities for up to 45 individuals. Thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. Season 1 of the RTV original On the Front Lines continues right now on RTV. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.